Alright, so I want to make this video because I am in a rough spot right now within my trading, and I overall just want to hold myself accountable. So that's why I'm starting this YouTube channel. Hopefully, I can look back into this in the future when I've accomplished the things that I want to accomplish. Right now, it's I'm in a really tough spot. Um, Two accounts right now. I'm in drawdown. I have one more trade before these accounts are blown. I have two Alpha Futures accounts right now, and I want to talk about my problems and I want to make some solutions for them. I've done this in the past, but I think this is a way that it can really just enforce my problems and enforce my solutions and really just apply it in real time. So, first problem I have that I struggle with is FOMO. Um, I FOMO into trades. I know something I can do for this is I can, you know, go in with the mindset knowing that there's more days to come, and everything is in God's timing. I'm a man of God. I'm very, trustworthy when it comes to timing and all things like that. I need something else I can do is I can zoom out. I can go in the higher time frame. I can really just pay attention to what's going on and take a step back. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have a set routine. Is I'm gonna wake up earlier, go into the market, go into the day with a fresh mind, clear mind, level-headed, to make sure I'm not doing any, irrational decisions where I'm just entering, just not really thinking clearly and not really having any logical thought with like narrative behind my trade. So something I could do for this to overcome this is to learn from the past. Like basically in the past, I've learned that if I FOMO into a trade, it could play out. Yeah, right. You want to enter because you're like, okay, this shit could play out. Like it could play out, but I've learned. I've sometimes it's worked out for me in the past, but most times it doesn't. Like long term, it's not going to work out. So it's better to just not FOMO into a trade, because yeah, you can make that quick profit, if you get lucky, but that's where you become a gambler. And I'm not a gambler. I have a profitable system that I've backed up during back testing. Yeah, I know it's profitable, and I know it's it's not gambling. And if I FOMO, I'm gambling, and I'm not going to gamble because that is not me, and that is not how trading works. And I will never be profitable if I FOMO into trades. So what can I do for this? To not FOMO, I can acknowledge the fact that I gambling and setting myself back and not thinking long term. All right. So another issue I have is being attached to the P&L and overall just spiraling out of control. I've done this various times. Like I think it's been like 2 to 3 times where I've genuinely spiraled out of control, and it's affected weeks, months worth of progress that I had. I was very patient. Like I follow my rules 80% of the time, but that 20% is where that's what's preventing me from becoming profitable, because I know skill wise I'm a profitable trader, but it's just things that I do, small things that compound over time that set me back. So being attached to the P&L, I'm not going to be attached to the P&L because I know that I'll just be setting myself back long term, which that stems, like things that stem into this is FOMO. And if I don't FOMO into trade, that I also get attached to the P&L because I FOMO into trades. or I FOMO into trades because I'm attached to a P&L, right? Like I'm thinking with a number. Like there was this one time I got $150 day, and it was $200 to be considered a winning day. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna make a quick $50. So I just entered real quick, trying to make a quick $50, and I lost some money, and I just kept going and going and going, trying to make it back, and then how that shit goes. That got ugly. So test the P&L. I will detach by simply getting off when what I want to see present. What I want to see presented is simply not there. I will detach by simply getting off, simply not there, and going on about my day. So that is how I'm gonna, that's how this is gonna go to that. All right, ignoring conditions. I've had this recently where I just simply ignore the higher time frame, and it messes me up. Like today, I had a trade where I was too zoomed in, I was stuck on the lower time frame, not paying attention to the hourly, where we were overall bullish, and I was simply trying to predict rather than react, and that really messed me up. And if I just simply paid attention to the higher time frame, I wouldn't have taken that trade, because we were bullish until obviously proven otherwise, and I anticipated shorts, and I paid the price. But that is simply something I will not do anymore. So ignoring conditions, I will zoom out and I will pay attention to the higher time frame. So we can write pay attention to higher time frame, and volume is being given to us. Okay. Chasing price. I've had this issue where I'm chasing price and I'm overall just pattern trading, right? We can add that as well. Pattern trading, where I have a set criteria for the day and things I want to see, but then I see something form, and I essentially just chase price by entering, which also I get FOMO. Like it's pretty much full circle. Like these things just add up, right? And I chase price. I see something like we could be in a downtrend or in an uptrend, for example, and then we get something like this, right? And then I would enter. Like I enter this with like, on the higher time frame we could be like, there could be a huge bearish gap, like we could be in a huge or a bullish gap. Sorry, and I'm just simply ignoring that, and we tap into the hourly gap, and I would take like this move right here, right? I would take this, and I just get stopped out. So it goes something like this. We usually don't even hit the break-even point, but it's just, regardless if we hit the break-even point or not, it's just not a valid take. And then we get something like this or something like this, where we just instantly run to my stop. And yeah, basically I ignore the higher time frame and I just pattern trade. So something I will do is I will zoom out and have critical logical thought process before entering a trade. So I will zoom out and it's telling us followed with logical with a logical thought process and narrative on why I should take trade. So something I'm going to do from now on is to not chase price. I will zoom out and see what the high time frame is telling us, followed with a logical thought process and narrative on why I should take the trade or not. So I think that's really important. I just struggle, I tunnel vision. I seem to tunnel vision, and I just always pay the price. And I'm like, okay, why did this not pan out? This didn't pan out because I'm pattern trading. So something I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom out, and I'm gonna go into the day. Like I said, I'm gonna have a set routine. I'm gonna come in level-headed with logical thinking and just my brain fully conscious of my decisions. I'm not just entering off the first displacing candle that I see. Like, no, we're not doing that, right? So greed, I struggle with greed where when it comes to like managing my positions, right? So in the past, I've had this issue. Like, just because I don't do it all the time doesn't mean I don't have this issue. Like, in the past, I've seen that I move my stop because I think this, this trade is still gonna pan out. But what I need to do is I need to realize that I'm entering where I believe my stop is protected, and if I move my stop, then that defeats the whole purpose of a protected stop, because a protected stop is supposed to back up, the narrative behind your trade and just overall your thought process when it comes to the trade. Because you place your stop there for a reason, right? I'm placing my stop there for a reason, and if I get stopped out, obviously the trade isn't valid. Like, I'm not just gonna get stopped out for no reason, right? So yeah, I'm gonna enter, and I'm not gonna drag my stop, over leveraging, and that's just gonna set me back long term. So something I'm gonna do is for greed, I'm gonna detach from the money, right? But back to number one. If I get too greedy, I can become a gambler. What do I mean by that? If I get too greedy by moving my stop, I'm banking on that trade. I'm over leveraging on that trade. I'm sizing too heavy. I'm over risked, and that's just not worth it long term, because it could still stop me out. Also, I've had issues where I don't go break even on where I anticipated to go break even at. So if I have a break even point, I need to follow through with it. So I can't just say I'm gonna be emotionless, because obviously emotions come into trading, but I need to do my best to manage them, and I'm gonna do that by I can simply either walk away or when I enter a trade, I can just watch price and